I always say to everybody in these things, for me, it's the same. Don't take any comfort whatsoever by getting to a quarter, because losing in the last zonal game that could have got you through, losing the quarter, losing the semi, they're all the same really. You're into the point where you want to win it.
It's the last week of the Vitality Blast group stages, and the Outlaws know they could be one win away from securing a home quarter-final. Samit Patel is back in the Notts camp after beginning his Red Ball loan with Glamorgan, as the first chance to secure a knockout tie at Trent Bridge comes with a trip to Worcester. But as the visitors arrive, it's already apparent that the weather may be the only winner today. Both sides are forced to play a waiting game as the rain begins to set in before the umpires decide to call off the contest. The Outlaws and the Rapids take a point each from the game as the destiny of a home quarter-final remains up for grabs. The Green and Golds must now better Worcestershire's result in Friday's final round of games if they are to secure one of the top two spots in the North Group. One man with a wealth of experience of performing under pressure is Stephen Mullaney, and the club captain is doing everything he can to return from injury as quickly as possible.
We've obviously compared to Forest. Ball's on an Alter G machine. It's basically an anti-gravity treadmill. So at the minute you can see he's running, he's only putting 75% of his actual body weight through his knee at the moment. It's part of his progressive return to running. Obviously, we're just getting the knee used to taking and absorbing impact, well not just the knee but the whole so the lower limb really, the whole body. So it's a great bit of kit. And he's just doing little 1 minute intervals at the minute, so a minute on, minute off, just gradually getting used to it. He's smashing it, to be honest. He's right where we'd want him to be at this stage. Obviously, got some big games coming up and he's desperate to be available for those, so he's giving himself his best chance at the minute, mate, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Mullaney's original aim was to be back in contention for Notts' county championship game against Yorkshire, but ultimately the game at Scarborough came too soon.
But yeah, obviously looking back, it was a tough aim, but what we thought it was realistic at the time. Did a fitness test a couple of days before and felt a little bit of pain. So I think you obviously got to listen to your body when it's telling you, the symptoms are telling you that it's not quite ready, and it wasn't for that. So this week I've done first 2 running sessions on the Alter G machine, which is anti-gravitational treadmill. So yeah, heading in the right direction. I had a bat again twice this week. Feels really good, not any pain. So I think what comes into my mind, especially as captains, I don't want to let the team down, really, because if I go in, if I say it's okay and I know deep down it's not, go into the game and it, blows up or something goes wrong, then it's putting the other 10 in a tricky situation. So I think that's the reason, but also I'm experienced enough now to know if I'm fit enough to get through the game or not, and I wasn't definitely fit enough to get through that Scarborough game. So I've helped out coaching a little bit, flicking at the lads and helped with fielding practice, which I've really enjoyed, seeing the other side to it and what the coaches actually go through when we're out there in the middle. So I found it really interesting actually. I'll be jealous next week if we get a home quarter final and sitting on the balcony rather than being out there, because it's one of the best. You feel like you're playing in front of 50,000 people. The support's unbelievable, but it's an unbelievable. It's just, I can't explain it until you've been out there. It's just incredible, and we really support everyone who comes along, and they really are. Don't just say it sounds a bit cheesy, but they really are the 12th man on that day, and they really help you. Can be quite intimidating place to come and play against us, I think, because they're very vocal, very loud, they're very close to the action. And I can't wait. Hopefully we get that home quarter final.
As Mullaney continued his recovery, Chris Nash stepped into his shoes to lead the team in Scarborough, but the batsman hasn't been able to force his way back into the T20 side after suffering a serious shoulder injury last season.
So last year I got injured first game, dislocated my shoulder, which took me out for the whole tournament last year. So fielding was a real issue in pre-season, and we didn't know how it was going to go. So I suppose there was obviously the initial fear that I'd never play white ball cricket again, not being able to throw to the level I thought. Never worked so hard in my life to get back to a point where I could play white ball cricket, played in the 50 over comp, and then I suppose then I set my sights on T20 has been a really big competition for myself. You know, I'd probably argue over the last 10 years I've been up there in the top kind of 5-6 run scorers in the country, so to not play has been really hard, and then to be around the squad preparing to play kind of 6-7 weeks of not playing any cricket has been really hard as well, so it's been a new experience, not something I particularly enjoyed. I always thought as a 21, 22, 23 year old it would get easier. I'd get to 33, I'd be a senior player, I'd every year go out and do whatever I need to do and it would just be great. But actually it gets harder and harder because your expectation levels go up. You think about how many years you've got left and you want to perform to your standards, and I think when you set those standards as a youngster you want to keep them for the rest of your career. Not playing is horrible, so when the team goes out and they come and say, look Nash, you're not playing, I probably grew very, very used to never having that happen. Always performed to the top level across 3 formats, so yeah, this year's been tough. I think, you know, Dan comes to me a lot during games, he wants my advice. I think people come to me a lot to ask about, you know, how they're going as batters, or even on the field they come sometimes give me a shout to go over. So as a senior player your role is to lead by example. You know, when I train, my attitude towards it, I think if anyone can take away, you know, when I'm long gone in 5-6 years, if any of these lads who are playing now look back and say he did it right, you know, he was calm, he was level, any good qualities that I like to think I've got. If any of the young lads can take that forward into their careers, and I think I've done my job. My overriding ambition is just to make sure if I get a chance, no one comes and tells me I'm not playing again.
Matchday arrives, with only Durham standing in the way of a home quarter-final, and the Outlaws are leaving no stone unturned in their preparations.
Today's game is obviously a really important one for the team. The carrots is very apparent. A win today will get us a home quarter-final, so obviously the players are really psyched up for that. So like that sort of ball early to him, he'll just sort of play, and then at the death he does all this sort of stuff as well, like when he's under pressure.
I got that before the off,
yeah.
But yeah, mid-wicket, offside.
He loves it here, doesn't he?
Yeah.
His boundary areas are quite strong here.
Exactly.
Yeah. But if you bowl width, he will lay you off more than like go extra cover, I reckon.
Yeah.
Cunny, I think, has become more and more important for us. You know, matchups have been talked a lot about in 2020 cricket. He's found a way of giving that information to each player in the way they should get it.
So my role in the preparation for this game has been looking into the opposition dossier, so looking at the Durham squad, their strengths and weaknesses of their batsmen, and their strengths and weaknesses of the bowlers, what their go-to options are really, what's their stock delivery, what's their variations, and who bowls where as well. The bowling patterns are quite important for our batsmen, sort of who bowls in the power play overs, who bowls at the death. It's quite important for our batsmen to know that. I've obviously got one eye on the other table on the South League, but the work doesn't really go in until we know who we're playing against really. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to be a part of that.
As over 13,000 pack into Trent Bridge for the game, with television personality Chris Hughes among them, there's no escaping just how important the next few hours could be for the Outlaws season.
On a serious note, fellas, it's definitely the time to bring on the fire, boys. It's that time of the tournament. On a serious note, this is the last game we play a quarter next. We either play it here or we play it somewhere else. But if you've got anything left in there, you bring it now. It's a way of playing, it's a way of aggression, it's a way of being.
Durham win the toss and get off to a flyer with the bat before Dan Christian takes 3 wickets to slow the visitors' momentum. The Outlaws are set 172 to win, but struggle to stay on top of the run rate, eventually being bowled out for 124.
The 2 things I thought I would say, one, it's the best we fielded by a long way, plus 20. I thought we bowled well. I still think we bowled well. That doesn't reflect on how we batted. I've got one thing I think I want to say on the batting. Let's just make sure this makes no effect on our intent and how we go about it. We're an aggressive team, we play aggressive shots. So really put this one to bed. We've got a home quarter final, we've got a big game coming up. We'll give you the prep what you need over those 4 or 5 days, and then we've got a fantastic campaign. 1 game, 1 win. Well done. Yay! Come on!
Despite the results on the night, Worcestershire's defeat to Northamptonshire means the Outlaws will have one more chance to perform in front of the Trent Bridge crowd in a home quarter-final.
Not our greatest performance of obviously the competition so far, but we'll park it and we'll have some really good training sessions leading into the quarter-final.
Yeah, do you know what? Coming here tonight, you get, with sport, especially like cricket, it was almost a dead rubber in the sense that, you know, Notts were qualifying, but obviously there was a home tie at stake. Like looking around tonight, I didn't think there'd be as many people as there were here, and there was a good amount of people, and I think that's a really good spectacle for cricket itself. But just a great atmosphere, you know, it's T20 cricket, like you want entertainment, we've got entertainment. The ground looks phenomenal, like the deck they were playing on tonight, I thought that'd be an easy run chase, to be honest. Obviously Durham got off to a good start, Notts clawed it back, but it don't matter, like the result in the end of the day, they're in the quarter-final, home tie, kick on from here.
I mean, you looked at the teams you could play, and pretty well everybody you could play, you think, well, phew, they're quite a tough side, and you expect that. Last 8 of the tournament, it should be like that. So Middlesex, good team, you know, they've had varied success over the years. In 2020 they've struggled, but this year they've found a formula to play well. Obviously the Morgan de Villiers dynamic in the middle is a big one for everybody. So it should be a great game. You know, I mean, I think we've got the advantage of our home ground. We'll take nothing for granted, and in some ways we know we've got a reasonable build-up, so there's plenty of time to sort of have a look at who we're going to play, how we're going to go about it, and by the time we get to Thursday be ready to go and play. For me personally, you'll do a little bit of on the opposition where you're at, so you're starting to get clear, and you don't always get 6 days to have a look at somebody. The key is you have a look, and by the end of it you look for one reason so it gets simple in your head. If you're speaking to people about it, you're not going to overcomplicate it. You can, if somebody asks you your view on a play, say, well, I think we should go here. But players are different, you know, not everybody wants to know too much about the opposition. And I totally understand that and totally get that, because it actually takes them away from their focus. So everybody's different. The key is you've got yourself ready to go and play, and you're prepared in a way so you can relax. And I say, enjoy it is the wrong way of looking at it. You're ready to take your responsibility, I think, to deliver on that day. I often say to lads, get nervous early. So nearly you've got nervous early, so by the day you can actually relax a bit. They're nervy days. You know, you know, as a coach, you sometimes hear looking calm and inside thinking, oh, come on lads, come on. I think always on those days, you hope you represent yourself as a team well. And if somebody beats you, you go home gutted. But you can live with that. If you haven't played your style and your game, then they're really hard ones then, because you think, well, we didn't really pitch up on the day and do what we could do. So that to me is the goal for the coach. Coaches prepare, really. When it comes to game day, we're all in it, and really by that stage it's a handover job. Dan takes those troops and he's ready, and the lads have got to go and do their business. White ball, we've had really good success, and I expect us to qualify. To qualify at home, I think it's important because 1, financially for the club it's great, 2, for the fans it's great, and 3, it gives us our best chance of going to finals day. I always say to everybody in these things, for me it's the same. Don't take any comfort whatsoever by getting to a quarter, because losing in the last zonal game that could have got you through, losing the quarter, losing the semi, they're all the same really. You're into the point where you want to win it. We've got to that point, which is fantastic. And when we get to the quarter, our part of the bargain is to front up and, you know, ready to let go. It's that point of the tournament, you know, the sides that let go the best. You know, we hear lots of people go and express yourself. That's really difficult. But if you can, think, you know what, you know, you don't get that many of these days. I'm coming in there and I'm coming in to play my game, and you're going to all have to watch it and you're going to be part of it. Then that's the way you go and take on those games.